Vallejo Music exclusive.
I grew up like a savage. One, two. You now rocking with the No Vultures podcast. You got me, myself, Lord Rab. You got OG Clee going away on a vacation. Free OG Clee. You got Corn the Barber, who was supposed to be here, but he had to do something with his daughter, man. He had, that's what we do. We black fathers, man. You know what I'm saying? We take care of that business. So he had to run and go do something with his daughter. And today we got a very, 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 very special guest. Now, you might know this dude for having one of the biggest Bay Area remixes of all time. I went back today just to make sure and looked at all of them. I don't know if nobody had that much unity on the record. I'm not sure, man. But you might know that this nigga from that. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the Bay, bro. You might know him from the Fly Nigga movement. You might know him from the 22nd Letter. You might know him from Generation Now. You know what I'm saying? Running around this motherfucker with Ceddy Hendrix. You know what I'm saying? From everybody from Ceddy Hendrix to Jack Harlow to motherfucking Lil Uzi to motherfucking DJ Drama, man. We got Willie Joe in this motherfucker, man. What's up with you, Willie, man?
What's up, my boy, man?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How you doing?
Man, we finally got you in this motherfucker.
Hell yeah. Been a minute.
It's been a minute, man. And I got to give you the No Vultures disclaimer, right? So, started this podcast because we seen a void where we from and making media happen, right? And making media, having media from a knowledgeable standpoint. Most of our media was driven on beef and shit, like, controversy. It was never about the music. It was never about the culture. It was never about digging in depth of the artists and the people that make this shit happen. And we way more complex than just some funk. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So our whole thing was create a thing where we'd cover the history and we'd get to everything else later. We won't clout chase. We'll just cover this shit, and how it roll is how it roll. You know what I'm saying? Now, it wasn't to be the fastest running show because it had to be organic. So, I could produce another show with some bullshit on it, you know what I'm saying? But not this one. This is No Vultures, man. Fact. So I got to give you that disclaimer, man.
Man, my pleasure, man, for sure.
Man, so, usually we like to start from the beginning, right? So, born and raised in Vallejo?
No, actually, I was technically born in Daly City because that's where my mom was at when her water broke.
Oh, okay.
But we was living in Oakland, so I stayed in Oakland until I was 6.
Okay.
On 61st, and then I moved to Vallejo when I was 6 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, at that time, I'm thinking about the way the Bay Area was set up because I remember some of my family moving to Vallejo. Was moving to Vallejo a better life at that time?
Absolutely. It was definitely. I'll never forget it because the first time I ever seen somebody get shot was 5 years old, looking out my window.
Right.
61st, a nigga got shot right in the front yard, and we moved 2 weeks after that.
Man. You know what I'm saying?
Moms and pops was like, we out of here.
The stories never get old though. They the same people telling the same stories. Like, I'm ready to get out this motherfucker, huh? It's the same old shit, man. It's like cycles of this shit. So, like, growing up in the V, what neighborhood?
When we first moved there, I moved to the South Vallejo, Lemon Street, and then we moved to Beverly Hills, and then I was there until high school. In high school, I went to Rancho. That was like the North Vallejo.
North Vallejo. Now, growing up in Vallejo, like, was your life like every typical young black dude? Like, you seeing the same shit? Like, is it? Obviously, I know that, but for the audience, is the pressures the same? Is it like the dope dealers? Is it like the athletes? Is it like the separate people? Like, did you have to choose at any point?
With me, I don't think I ever looked at it like I was choosing because I kind of was always a person that just, even within my immediate family, I just always was a person that just moved to his own beat. Like, just kind of was always into my own thing. Like, so for me, like, I kind of chose what I was gonna do early. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of, I was always a person that people kind of followed me more than me follow people. Like, you know what I'm saying? So so I kind of already knew what I want to do. But obviously, you dip and dabble and to figure out what you ultimately want to do.
So like around this time, like, what's the culture that you seeing? This is Vallejo, right? So are you seeing? Of course, you growing up under that Mac Dre and E40 influence. But then people just stop there, and Vallejo's so much more deeper than that. Like, we've been having these conversations, right? And I'm like, God damn, if you think about it though, Vallejo, a very small town. You know how they always go by the population? It's a very small town with a lot of real stars.
Nah, real talk.
Like real stars. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like platinum artists. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like her is like the icing on top. Like she just like out of here. She gonna be at a Super Bowl bi-yearly, and she's gonna be at every Grammys. You know what I'm saying? From here on out. Like,
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like Vallejo is so much more complex, and also, you know, being the first city in California that went bankrupt.
Yep.
But you've been seeing the decline of it.
Yeah.
So growing up there, like what was your life like? Like what was the soundtrack? What was you seeing? And what was you hearing? What was in the cars?
What was crazy is like growing up in Vallejo, it was very at that time it was very separated. So if you grew up in the South and the Hillside and you really was on E40, the Click, Young D Boys, you know, you grew up in the North Crest and stuff like that. You was Mac Dre, you know, the Mac, stuff like that. But for me, I was just a music lover. So for me, like it was crazy because I gravitated to Mac Mall. Like so I didn't really wasn't very vocal about it because I was from the hills. You know what I'm saying? So everybody having conversations about other people. Like my favorite rapper was Mac Mall. Like Illegal Business just that just did it. Like when I heard that, I was like, oh, like here's somebody that sounds like the people that I'm listening to on BET. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then, until him, I didn't really feel like no one, you know, locally was sounding like the other people that I was hearing. And when I heard that, I was like, it kind of opened my ears that we got talent like that too. Right.
And I noticed that about you, like even later on, and even probably how you got to where you are now, is that the your ear ain't regional. So, you know, it's certain rappers, you know, and we gonna get on this later because his influence is your influence is on him, but even somebody like a Clyde Carson, right? Like to be able to balance okay, I'm from here, let me stick to this aesthetic, but we are raw like this. You know what I'm saying? We can't compete on this level. It ain't got to be regional.
Exactly.
You know, it's weird too because somehow Detroit has got people to accept a regional sound. You know what I'm saying? It's like
they crazy.
You know what I'm saying? They got the world to do it. It's shit like Yachty jumping on shit too, like a whole fucking tape. Like that don't hurt. You know what I'm saying? So like in doing my research, I know that you said you found a E40 album.
Yeah, that was the first CD I ever heard. Was walking home from school, elementary. I saw Mr. Flamboyant, a CD, Mr. Flamboyant on the floor, on the ground. Picked it up, went home, put it in my dad's CD player. I was like, oh, that's hard. So that was the first CD I heard. Then after that, the next thing I heard was Doggy Style, you know, Snoop. And then that's when I was like, oh, this music shit is crazy. And then after that, the next thing I heard was Crisscross. And then that's what made me feel like I could do it.
You could do it.
Like
these kids?
Yeah, they my same age. Like, I could do this. And then, like I said, after that was Mac Mall, and I was hooked.
So like when you saying when you know the Mac Mall, that you love Mac Mall, because Mac Mall was here. Shout out to Mac Mall, and he talked about, you know, rapping on that song with 40 at the time of, you know, the two sides not getting along, and saying and 40 saying letting some 223s on the other side of town. You know what I'm saying? Which he's saying which 40 said that he wasn't into it with them at the time. That's not what he was talking about. But Mac Mall was like, I didn't give a fuck because Tupac, I'm sitting on the couch and Tupac like, take these bars. So, you know, this whole time until he came on the show, nobody knew that Tupac wrote Mac Mall verse. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? On that song.
That's crazy.
Like that shit is crazy. So, like, how do you remember hearing that song and thinking that, or was you even aware?
No, I definitely wasn't aware because I definitely was a huge 40 fan and a huge Mac Mall fan. So I was just juiced that they was on the same song with Tupac. So that's all I looked at. I didn't even think about the politics at that time.
Yeah, that's dope. So growing up, was you an athlete or anything?
I played basketball. I played like football and Pop Warner type shit, but you know, a little bit basketball, a little bit.
So like early, did you know you wanted to do music?
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like I was the rapper. Like
you knew it
from the jump. Like I would win all the talent shows. Like that was just I learned early that was my way of connecting with people and my way of getting indoors and
when you go back, if anybody meets you now and see you it's kind of weird watching you as a rapper. Not now, but watching you as a young rapper. Yeah. Watching your energy and your movements, it was like, nah, this nigga was really like kind of hyper in his music. Like, but he's hella smooth, like in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it don't seem like you know what I'm saying? It'd be like,
that's what they always
you think a nigga is like a nigga be like got a mix between like Hov and some hyphy shit, like a nigga found the fine line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, what was the first thing you can remember recording or writing?
I was in, what's that, 5th grade. It was the end of the school year. We had the assembly. We had to write we had to just do something that summed up the year and everything that we learned. And I got everybody to do a rap. So we did Biggie. It was we did Juicy. Okay. We flipped Juicy and basically like talked about the subjects we learned and all shit like that. And then pretty much after that reaction is when I start like kind of really trying to write and do all that type of stuff.
So like, do you remember the first time you went and recorded something? Or did you ever have that phase where you like recorded at home? Yeah,
I did that. That's what we did, like all junior high and stuff like that. Like friends that had a little setup, like my boy Rail Guns. That's how I met him. He had a setup at his house where he had a microphone. He had the little machine that could press up like tapes and stuff. So I was like, my whole thing, because I was a fan of music and I was a fan of the music industry, and I would always mimic things I seen in my local area. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when my first time mixtape I saw was DJ Clue.
Okay.
So when DJ Clue had a mixtape, he had Jay-Z, because that was my favorite rapper. So when he had the song on there, I noticed how he had exclusives. Okay. So when I met my boy and he had a microphone, a little setup, he had the machine where he could print out, like, we could take a picture and he could put a little graphic on it. Okay. I said, man, we need to do a mixtape. I ain't seen nobody out here do no mixtape. I've never heard of no Bay Area mixtape. Right. Like, at that time.
And 40 was talking bad about him. He was fucking with him. Like, nigga, why would you give your music away? You know what I'm saying?
That's definitely always a Bay Area mentality, which in some ways I get it. You feel me? But I was just like, man, we should just drop a mixtape. So we used to drop mixtapes, sell them at the school and shit like that. And the shit just picked up from there.